first comic book I ever read was The Death of Superman. This might seem strange to some, and I imagine why. Honestly, I only read it because at the time I simply didn't understand how comic books worked. I never realised that though there is only one Superman, there could be multiple versions of Superman told through multiple different stories, all at the same time. Meaning that my understanding of a comic book origin story was that there was only one single tale of how someone or something came to be. Therefore, when I finished The Death of Superman, and then The Return not long after, I felt like I was ready to tackle the comics of the superhero I admired most. This guy. And with that decision came the realisation that there is one graphic novel that serves as the defining Batman origin story, Frank Miller's Batman Year One. Despite there being countless examples of alternative Batman origin stories, Miller's tends to be the most universally accepted, so much so that it played as one of the main resources for the first film in Christopher Nolan's Dark Knight trilogy. Miller's dark and gritty imagining of how the Caped Crusader came to be set the tone for almost 30 years of Batman-related content. The cold, ominous, menacing Batman we have come to love and fear can be traced back to pages like this, where we see Frank Miller's envisionment of the Batman he created come to life. However, with the 2011 relaunch of DC's entire line of ongoing monthly superhero comic books, it was Scott Snyder and Greg Capullo who took the helm of the Batman series, and for 17 issues told fresh, original stories, spanning from the creation of the villainous crime organisation, the Court of Owls, to bringing back the arch-nemesis of the Dark Knight in one of his most sick and twisted story arcs yet. Though it's issues 21 to 33 that I've decided to use as the topic for today's video. Batman Zero Year is the latest retelling of how Bruce Wayne became Batman. And one of the first things that sets it apart from other popular origin stories is that the origin is told over the course of 3 story arcs, first with Secret City, then Dark City, and then ending finally with Savage City. The fact that there's 3 arcs in this story is actually one of the fundamental ways that Snyder and Capullo go about telling this story. Batman's growth moves simultaneously with how Gotham City changes throughout the course of the 3 arcs. And Snyder does this because he knows the importance of Gotham to a Batman story, because without Gotham, there is no Batman. And though the origin is set in 3 arcs, like many comic books, it's structured in a non-linear fashion. The first issue of Secret City, issue 21, begins with a prologue of Batman returning to a decaying Gotham City, which plays as a setup for what is to come all the way over in issue 30, where the final arc, Savage City, has just begun. We're given just enough information about what has happened to Gotham in Batman's absence, so that when the prologue ends and we officially begin Secret City here, we're set 5 months back, where Bruce Wayne is fighting the Red Hood gang in disguise. I actually find the opening panel of this arc itself to be clever, in the way that Snyder allows the audience to realise that Batman's origin story is in safe hands. The opening line of the story is by the Red Hood leader himself, where he says, "Oh, we're going there. Yes, we are. We're kicking down that door right now." Of course, literally, the Red Hood leader is referencing the men in the back of the van Bruce Wayne is sitting in. However, metaphorically, what Snyder does is brilliant. Because with Zero Year's announcement, there came a lot of hesitance from fans about how and even why Batman's origin story needed to be retold. Miller's work on Year One seems so definitive that touching on such work in any way was almost deemed forbidden. Meaning that when people read this in the opening pages, Snyder's intention was to prepare the reader for what was going to happen. The comic was diving headfirst into history that for so long seemed untouchable. However, it's the way that both Snyder and Capullo reinvented what Batman is, as well as what Bruce Wayne is, that I want to discuss most in this video. First in terms of look and design, and then in terms of how they developed the character to keep it modern and contemporary. Looking at the overall design for each character first of all, the design for Batman stands out favourably in comparison to the more recent renditions of The Dark Knight. The stripped back detail and the basic shades of black and grey evoke visions of a more vintage, traditional Batman. You can see it, I think, mostly in the cowl Capullo designed. The pure blackness of the mask allows for the whites of Batman's eyes to evoke all the emotion needed, rather than using brow lines to show it. Compare this to say how Jim Lee draws Batman and you can instantly see the difference. Though that's not to say Capullo shies away from drawing like other artists. For instance, the flat bullnose of Batman's mask is very reminiscent of the mask from Batman's armoured batsuit in Frank Miller's The Dark Knight Returns. And this referencing to other Batman work is something Snyder and Capullo thrive on. Where some writers in comics or even films tend to replicate work from other sources, Snyder only hints at them. Why? Probably to keep that familiarity that we have with the character. And when the intent of the story is to remodel how we see Batman, why not add in subtle references like the house burning scene in issue 23, reminiscent of a similar scene in Batman Begins, or the blimps we always see hovering over Gotham that remind us of Batman the Animated Series. The entire first arc, Secret City, actually follows the Red Hood gang's prominence in Gotham, which is a narrative taken from Alan Moore's The Killing Joke, which is probably the most commonly referred to origin story of the Joker. Though Moore wasn't the sole creator of this origin, but more the author who adapted it from The Man Behind the Red Hood by Bill Finger. The point being, Snyder doesn't shy away from previous material. He celebrates it and invites us to feel as though his work stands right alongside the more famous work of others. He's even gone as far as to create direct homages with Capullo, for instance here where Batman is famously drawn sitting on a wire in the pouring rain. I also appreciate Capullo's diversity in his art, because what struck me the most about his work on Zero Year and the New 52 Batman as a whole was how Capullo had altered his style so noticeably. The detailed line work you can see in his work on Spawn is nowhere to be found in Batman, and he's created an embedded trademarks of his own that reflect the work of former Batman greats to cater to this series, such as these minimalistic wide-shot silhouettes you can find continuously throughout Zero Year.
The thing about me is I don't think that I have a style. I think you'll always be able to look at my work and go, it's Greg Capullo's work. But I'm drawing Batman the way I feel Batman. That's how Batman wants me to draw the book. If I were to go and do Spider-Man, which is a completely different character, you'd go, he's not drawing it like he drew Batman. Right, because it's not Batman, it's Spider-Man. They all had to be handled in their own way, and they will tell me how to draw. You know, my cartoony, bendy style, twisted character style worked in Spawn for what that was. It wouldn't have worked in Batman. So that's why you see the development, the change, because the book is talking to me.
I could go on for hours talking about Zero Year and what I believe makes it such a fantastic work within the Batman series. However, there's so much more to talk about that I couldn't fit it all in one video. Which means I'm going to release part 2 of this video essay in roughly a week's time, which will touch more upon Snyder and Capullo's work, as well as FCO Placencia's contribution to Zero Year. So if you're interested in seeing that video, make sure to like this video and subscribe to Viewfinder so you can be one of the first people to catch part 2. And I just wanted to say to those of you who have already subscribed, we passed the 5,000 subscribers mark not too long ago, so thank you so much for subscribing to this channel. Hopefully you enjoy watching these videos just as much as I enjoy making them. However, to carry on making them, I need your help. If you head over to my Patreon page, please consider supporting this channel to get the most out of it that you possibly can. This channel is 100% crowdfunded, so with your help, I can keep getting better videos out at a better rate, and with that, this channel can keep growing and keep getting better and better for you guys. And also, there are tons of really cool perks over there, so if you head over there, you might find something that you're interested in. Once more guys, thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you for part 2.